simply put, we were publicly told, now in private, again, some of the cult elites celebrated Christmas, but we were publicly told, don't celebrate Christmas, but yet all of the things of William Branham we were supposed to celebrate. So in other words, don't celebrate Jesus, but let's all celebrate William Branham.
Now, while approximately 50% of the message is not having anything to do with Christmas, you know, not giving any presents to their kids, not putting up a Christmas tree, not watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, like completely staying away. So half the people believe that's absolutely pagan and you're going to go to hell if you do it. William Branham has the most immaculate-looking Christmas tree in his living room with a great big pile of presents under it, right? And which he personally decorated and put up every year from everything that I've heard and understood. I've known multiple people too, John, who've been in his house, who saw his beautiful tree, and I've heard stories of people actually walking in while he was doing the decorating of the tree, and how he was so careful just to put the ornaments on and get everything evened out. Like, he took a whole lot of pride in his Christmas tree.
He did. My family, like I said, my family spent hours inside the Branham home. They had televisions, they had the Christmas tree, they had the gifts. They celebrated like normal. They lived like normal people.
Yeah. It's a wild thing, you know, and I don't think a lot of people in the message grasp truly the way that the Branham family lived their lives while William Branham was still living. You know, one of the things about cults is that the leaders don't follow their own rules typically, right? They tend to make really strict rules, but the leaders don't follow their own rules. And that is so true with William Branham. I mean, you look at Christmas. I mean, everything he told his people in some of his sermons was pagan traditions that was, damnable heresy or damnable this or the other. He was doing every stitch of it and more himself at his house. It's just... it's outrageous, honestly. And so while he's expecting some segment of his followers to adhere to this really strict line of thinking, he himself is not willing to do it himself. And he's that way with so many things, John. It's just so ironic, you know, when you look back. So many things that he was just so hypocritical on.
I think the element that is missing is that we have the recordings of William Branham that they allow us to have, obviously. There were more, but we have a set of about 1,200 sermons approximately. And what we have is, by and large, the main speaker of an event. But he was not the only speaker at an event. So you would have all of these other speakers that were rallying the crowds and building up their emotion, breaking them down, you know, toying with their minds, basically. And so William Branham would follow up behind this. And if he's coming to the platform preaching after a person who has just derailed the people who are celebrating Christmas, and he watched the crowd get all, you know, into this hype of condemning Christmas. Well, once they're in that hype, the main speaker's job is to take that hype and accelerate it even further. So that's why you see, if he's following up behind a preacher who has just preached this fabulous Trinitarian sermon and talking about accepting the Holy Spirit into your hearts, the third person of the Trinity, well, you see William Branham coming behind this saying, we who have accepted the Holy Spirit, the third person of the Trinity. So it applies to Christmas. If he's holding a Christmas meeting and he's going to, anti-Christmas meeting, he's going to follow up with an anti-Christmas sermon. But as you know, there are even some of William Branham's campaign managers who even publicly in their literature celebrated Christmas.
Oh yeah, I mean, Christmas is widely celebrated in broader Pentecostalism. Like, there's no problem with it. And even his magazines, Voice of Healing, ran a Christmas edition every single year. So there's a Christmas edition of Voice of Healing every year, right? Herald of Faith runs a Christmas edition almost every year, right?
Yeah.
So his primary publicity tools, his primary publicity sources are all about Christmas, and they capitalize on celebrating Christmas and publicizing Christmas every single year in William Branham's publicity. And if you open these magazines and read them, page 1 and 2 of every one of these magazines about William Branham. So here is Christmas scenes followed, immediately by William Branham saying stuff.
And if I'm not mistaken, William Branham's son Joseph is on the cover of the Herald of Faith. I know he's in some of the articles on the inside, but I think that's also, so he's...
I have it right here.
That's Joseph on the front of it. So not only did William Branham not practice what he preached, he was celebrating Christmas, he was taking it to the extent that he was putting his own family on the front of the covers of Christmas magazines.